understand the applications of artificial intelligence, the technology versus humanity, and many more things you will learn. So we start with the introduction of BPB publications. BPB is Asia's largest publishers of IT books. For the past 62 years, BPB has been a friend, philosopher, and guide for programmers, developers, and professionals who have made things happen in the IT world. It was started by Shri G.C. Jainji, who has been honored with the Padam Shri Award in 2002 by Honorable President of India for his contribution in spreading IT education in the country. We have published over 5,000 titles from the world-class authors and sold over 90 million books worldwide. We are publishing quality content on all the latest trending and emerging technologies. So it's a great honor and pleasure to invite the speaker of the day, Dr. Abhishek Kumar, who is the author of our book, A Practical Approach for Machine Learning and Deep Learning Algorithms, published by BPP Publications. Dr. Abhishek is an assistant professor in Chitkara University, having an academic teaching experience with more than 7 years in the field of computer applications. His research area includes artificial intelligence, data mining, and machine learning. So everyone, please get ready for the great session. Welcome, Dr. Abhishek.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, so we are very happy to have you here.
Same here, ma'am. Same here. I'm honored.
Please share your knowledge and experience with our participants.
Yeah.
And over to you.
Okay, ma'am.
So please start, Dr. Abhishek. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all. I would like to extend my thanks to BPP for providing this platform. I cannot say I have been associated with BPP from 2 years only. It's been more than 13 years because right from BTech we have been taught with Rishikesh, Yashwant Kanitkar book. Yeah, so it's a cult book. It's a classic book, and we all have gone through with that. So thank you BPP for providing us knowledge for so many years now. Now, without wasting time, I would like to switch to the PPT so that we can discuss it and we can get a good discussion, and I can get back some questions from you at the end of the session, right? So let's start the PPT first. So to start with, the basic concept behind this webinar, behind this small training session is how to get familiar with AI, how to get familiar with the different approaches of AI and whether AI really exists or not, and what are the consequences, what can be the consequences of AI in the coming future, right? So we will discuss many aspects, as many as possible within the time we are having. So let's start with the first slide, which is, of course, the main agenda, that is AI versus humanity. So AI is way back as compared to humanity, right? Right. So let's start with the first slide. The first slide is about our world will change more than in next 20 years than in the previous 300 years, right? So it could be, it could be a heaven or it could be a hell. That is a very old story. So I want to explain this slide with my vision. That is, what is my definition of AI is what machines can do but humans cannot, right? And it can be debatable. There can be many debates for that, how it is possible and on. But we will discuss it some other time. But most of the time, I'll discuss it in many conferences and seminar. And the definition is what machines can do and humans cannot. The reason behind this, the technology is always created by human, right? And in turning, redefining what we can and we will do, every single technological change is now impacting humanity. Fine. So in much deeper way than ever before, because technology will sooner impact our own biology, primarily via the rise of genomes, genetical algorithm, genomes editing, right? So these all are artificial intelligence. So technology is no longer just a tool we use to achieve some things. Like we are about to do some projects and we are going to do it with some tool. This is not something like that only. It is much more than that. And how it is, we can learn about this by some logics. So these are some logics. We are actually becoming tools. One computer scientist with the name McLuhan had said, right? Some of my futurist colleague, what he said, call this transhumanism something else. I personally think we should examine with a great caution, right? So this is the point where we can see that artificial intelligence can be get us to the heaven or get us to the hell, right? So there are different examples in a real-time scenario only, in a real-time system only. Uh, Yet exponential technological development in sectors like AI, such as computing and deep learning, is now very much getting used in all our research work. Who is doing research work in computer vision, who is getting research work in image processing also, who is getting research work in healthcare sector also. We will discuss in the latter slide the research scenario. So deep learning, and it could be nanoscience also, right? It could be material science also. It could be energies, battery, renewable energy is very much get affected by using machine learning algorithms and IoT. And there are lots of people who are getting diverted to the energies domain, right, from by using machine learning and IoT things, right? So that's beyond a doubt. We are quickly heading toward the point where computers, robots, AI will have same processing power as human brain. So it is very illogical to compare both of the subjects. But as far as human intelligence is concerned, the main pros is that it is not based on some database. It is not based on some user-defined database or something. It is based on learning and training. What I mean, naturally, God has provided us, right? But in case of AI, or in case of machine learning, or in case of deep learning, it is supposed to be that there are lots of debate that there is no AI exist so far. It will take around 20 or 30 more years to get AI into the picture. So how it sounds to you? I mean, what we are doing, right? We are using Android phone, we are using Siri, we are using what there in Android phone, Alexa is there also. So these are not AI. That's what they suggest, who are against this society of AI. I mean, who are not convinced with the features AI is providing. And that's the reason. The only reason is behind that is AI is totally based on the database they are having, right? So it is not independent simulating the things. Independently, it is not simulating the things. It is based on some database or something. So my point is, suppose we have to recognize some face, or we have to recognize some moving object, or we have to recognize some uh, still object, or some car, or some number plate recognition, or anything we want to do in case of computer vision, image processing using machine learning algorithms. So can we do it without passing the test set and training set? No, we cannot do that. It's not possible, right? So this is the main reason behind AI is not being accepted from both hands, from all the computer scientists and from all the societies all over the world. That's the main reason for me, and it should be the main reason. Actually, the database we are having is having some picture of mine in some other features, like in black and white, or in some RGB color or something. But if we are comparing the other picture, which is not the same as it is there in the database, it will always give the wrong result, that this person is not the one we are searching for, but I am the same person in that database. So this is something which is totally a intelligence based system. It's not AI. That's the logic of many people. It is totally intelligent based system which is made by us, and which is made by depending upon the databases we have to create, and it is not a AI. So AI will take more 20 years to get into the picture or to get simulated in a real-time scenario. Fine. So these are some debatable things that is going through, AI is going through from a long back. There is a long back story for back propagation also, right? There was a story that AI came into picture when Turing has proposed some concept, Alan Turing, that NLP scientist, that Turing Award person, that he has suggested something else which came into picture in 1952. So 1956 to 1970 is a golden era. So it was supposedly that it will raise the AI features and factors to some other level, but it didn't get happen. The things didn't turn out in the way of the scientist wanted to do, right? So what were the reason? Actually, the reason was there was no training and learning algorithm at that time. There was no specific learning and training algorithm at that time, and that draft was came to end at the 70s, early 70s and late 80s. Early 80s or late 70s, right? And what was that? That was back propagation for you. That is back propagation algorithm for you. And there is a AI before back propagation and there is a AI after back propagation, right? So AI after back propagation is a revolutionary change, right? Which made the AI what AI is now today. Otherwise, it was supposed to be vanished. It was supposed to be diminished on daily basis, that AI is not going to work because there is no training and no learning algorithm. There is no base to work something specific over this tool. They were doing some good stuff at that time also, but there was no base, there was no ground. How they will train the system? How will they make the system get learn something, right? They were following the things that feeding a child with a spoon philosophy. So when a human being, when we are feeding a child, we are making our child learn about feeding a child with a spoon. We always teach them to put the spoon into his or her mouth, right? If we teach them like to put the spoon in a ear or to put the spoon in on a ground, they will do that in the same way, and they will train that in the same way. That's the basic concept of AI. Suppose the next example we can do the domesticating a dog. We are teaching them that you have to bark on the outsider. You need not to bark on some familiar people, right? So these are many debatable questions are there as far as AI is concerned. So when this happen, we will need to decide of what we want to merge with the machines or not, right? So and the stance I'm taking, I mean, in the particular slide, I want to convey that we should embrace technology, right, and not becoming it. It's because technology is not what we seek, it's how we seek, right? How we are gonna use this, what specific task we are gonna perform with this, and there are many such tasks and many such questions. So up now, there is a concept called machine learning, which is a subset of AI. There is a concept of image processing computer vision, which is also debatably a subset of AI. Then there is a concept of deep learning, very revolutionary change, which is also a concept of AI, which is a subset of AI and machine learning, respectively. So there are lots of concepts now, and it made the things easy. But as far as my personal opinion is, to get your PhD done and to get your dissertation done with all these algorithms is not actually AI. To provide something to real-time scenario, to provide something to society is a real-time research for us, right? So there are lots of examples. Even if I have not done that so far, it's a different question, but we should do that only, not for the sake of the number of qualities, number of papers and number of patents we are doing right now. So this is not something we are embracing the technology. We are using the technology in a very bad way. We are wasting it, right? So we should embrace it. That's the point of this slide is, right? So let's move to the next slide. And the one more important point is there, technology is not what we seek. Before technology, the life was not that much easier, but the people, the ancestors were happy also. Whatever we have heard about that they were happy. They are leading a good life, healthy life. We are much more, I mean, having sickness and everything. So health is, I mean, getting retarded on daily basis. So there are lots of other concepts apart from this slide. So we will discuss that. So let's move to the next slide. The next slide is technology is exponential. This is very much true, but humans are not, right? What matters most to us is not technology. That's my point is, right? So there is a point which has some subsets like positivity, right? Like engagements, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. Fine. So these all make the things that, I mean, there are many concepts that I can move this slide with you. First concept is that if we are going for a technological aspects, we can go for emotional intelligence. Fine. Emotional intelligence is something where humans are much, much, much better than technology. And even after 50 years or 60 years, I'm not seeing, and I'm not going to see that, I don't know, but I'm not seeing that technology will overcome the human as far as emotional intelligence is concerned. Although many works has been going on, right? But it is not supposedly done because no work has been done so far without getting a right database and without a right intelligent system. So everything we are seeing it like Google Map, like Alexa, it's all about collecting the data, getting the data, and giving some answer with the experience. That's AI for you. So getting some answers for you ready and make it available for you by seeing some previous experiences is not supposed to be right and accurate in all aspects, right? So we all know about that. It is not gonna right in all aspects, but as far as it is gonna be right, it will decrease the work complexity more than 50% or 60% what work we are doing it manually, right? Suppose I'm moving toward, let's go to the basics of algorithms, right? Algorithms is the base for any machine learning subject or any AI subject. So if we are going for an algorithm, the algorithm can be good or algorithm can be bad, right? We have learned it about this in our BTech, in our MTech, and in our graduation, in our post-graduation, in our PhD also. We cannot skip it, this concept. So an algorithm can be better and can be useful and can be fruitful only if the data sets is bigger. Otherwise, if you have to sort 5 numbers, what is the use of algorithm? Wastage of money, wastage of manpower, and everything. So we have to consider all the points, right? We have to consider all the assumptions. We have to consider all the limitations, right? Then only AI can be useful for us. So there are lots of assumptions, lots of the things which should be considered, which need to be considered. So it sounds like I am going against the AI, being a person from AI only. So I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you the concepts which should be worked on now, right? What we are working now is the old concept which has been worked before in 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? Face recognition has been done by a MIT professor, Trunk. That is the base paper of any researcher who is doing AI work on face recognition or object recognition. That Trunk paper, which came in 1991, right? That MIT professor. So it was done in 1991. What we have done after that? So you won't find any classical technique that has been done or that has been conventionally changed or that has been mathematically implemented after that for making some algorithm. Yeah, there may came algorithm like from principal component analysis, they jump to SVM, which is a revolutionary change, in all aspects like results and accuracy and efficiency. Everything was raised, right? But has anyone done any work to simplify those concepts to the students of BTech? right? So there are many questions. We being a teacher, being a faculty, or being a student, or being a trainer, we need not to put our uh, that strength side to the students that I have achieved this. You have to put the side to simplify the concept. That's what I am trying to do. I know there are lots of faculties and there are lots of senior faculties, with due respect, I'm saying, who are there in the this webinar. But I'm just saying, I'm just putting my point and my vision with due respects, right? And I'll get to the questions also, and I would love to discuss all those questions at the end of the session. So this is the technology is exponential, but humans are not. So this means what matter most to us is not technology. That's the point is anything that can be digitalized or automated, right, will be the end of routine is near. Fine. So there could not be any routine. It make us, I mean, in idle state, it take us to the idle state. That's the point is the end of routine is not the end of the work, not the purpose, right? So many people may ask that if we are going to, if we are going to get at some automation or some automation devices, then the job and job aspects will be less. But for making those automation devices, we also need that amount of developer and all, right? So there is no negativity in that concept also, right? So there should be positivity, there should be engagement, right? There should be relationships, and there should be a meaning what we are doing it, why we are doing it, and what would be the final consequence, right? And the final accomplishment is based on the efficiency for sure, for accuracy, and with the final output, what we are getting, what we are trying to achieve, and how we are getting it, and what we are getting it. Fine. So the next slide is human versus technology again. So there are lots of concepts you can see on the slide. There is an algorithms that I have discussed a bit with you, and there is an androidisms. Fine. So how this concept came, and this concept has many subsets. As you can see in the slide, there is a emotions, there is a creativity. I'm going it clockwise, and there is an imagination, there is a ethics, empathy is there, consciousness is there, value, mystery, compassion, and intuition. So intuition is something which is the main base of AI. It is totally based on intuition first. We are making a model first, and then we are improvising that model to work for us in a way we want it to do for us. Fine. So the concept is human rhythms, right? That algorithms, not machine rhythms. Human rhythms, you can say that, not machine rhythm, algorithms, right? So when we are talking about computer chess, so a supercomputer can win in a chess or can go, but with currently not, we cannot ask a 2-year old child to play with a computer or something, right? So there was a case in early 90s when IBM computer has, there was a case when that computer has won on a very world champion of chess at that time only, right? So artificial intelligence has been worked on very long time back, but it has not been achieved what it is supposed to be achieved, because it is only dependent on intelligent system for today only, for even if for today now. That's my point is, right? So a person that meets in a hallway somewhere needs an average of 1.4 second or something to gain some kind of basic understanding about any person. For example, if you are hearing me and I'm hearing you, and I'm not getting any response from you, so I cannot get any kind of information from your side, right? But if I'm telling you, you can make me understand, you can understand me, that how I'm proceeding the work, how I'm giving the work, how I'm giving the explanation, or any other feature you want to do, right? The point is, so if we are facing each other's face to face, even after without speaking, human has a very natural ability that we can gain some information and some knowledge about that person. Can computer do that? No, computer cannot do that. Fine. So this is one of the pros I have. This is one of the cons I have discussed with you. So a computer still does not really understand values. Getting my point? I have mentioned here in PPT also, that is it is not able to understand the values, the feelings. It has also been there, right? After this, we can say that if we are talking about mystery, imagination, and complexity, mystery is about complexity. In algorithm, it is complexity. Fine. So what my point is, algorithms, if we are talking about, algorithms include human traits. Fine. Such as empathy, such as compassion, such as creativity. All there are in the slide only. You can see that and you can understand my point. Such as storytelling, and soon it can be related, such as mystery, mistakes, secrets also, and there are many other attributes or features. So in such a way, we can say that the computer are stupid. No, they are not. So once it was told by a scientist that a computer is stupid, they only provide answers, that 2 plus 2 is 4. And if there is any answer which is not intended, the answer is not intended, that is the error for you. If we are adding 2 plus 2, we need 4 only. If I'm getting 4.1 or 4.5, then I'm supposed to be declare that program or that answer to be incorrect, right? So computers are for answers, right? This is also a concept. This is also a conception for different scientists. Humans are for questions. This was told by Kevin Kelly, one computer scientist. We are supposed to ask questions, and a computer can answer that, just like a calculator. Somebody in my early days has asked me that if machine can do what humans cannot, is your definition for AI, then calculator could be an AI. It cannot be an AI, but it is an intelligent system. AI is something which is not going to be exist for the next 20 years also. That's my point is, every technological advancement impacts on how we interact as human, right or wrong. And in many future, in many future cases, if we consider, we will need to safeguard kinds of national parkies, right? Those human idiosyncrasies, so that they are not diminished or even eradicated by the tendency of technology. Now we are very much dependent on technology, whether it is gonna right or wrong, whether it is gonna relevant or not. That's the point is. So by the tendency of technology to present itself as a solution of everything, there is a concept now, Internet of Things, right? And there is a concept came again after this concept, is Internet of Everything. I mean, in our daily life, in our daily walk of life, we are seeing the miracle, right? Even Alexa and everything is, I'm being a student of computer science, I'm being a faculty of computer science, and computer is still a miracle for me of 21st century. And it is actually. But even after it is being criticized, because it should be. Otherwise, the technology advancement will be diminished for sure, right? So this is the basic concept I want to convey with the concept of algorithm and algorithms. Emotional intelligence and machine intelligence, artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence. Where is the lacking? Where is the computer is getting faster? I mean, it is solving the problem. We are solving it in a fraction of a second, right? So we cannot criticize that particular thing, but the dimension could be different. Suppose I'm good at AI or machine learning, maybe, or I'm good at reading a story, and you are asking me to play cricket. So you can criticize me that I'm not good at cricket, but that's the different dimension is. So similarly, if AI is coming, if deep learning is coming, if machine learning is coming, every time the parent thing that means the computer is getting criticized. but it has given us a lot. It has changed our life. It has changed our life comfortable, luxurious, and everything. But think when it was not existed, and then the professors and researchers were doing their PhD at that time. So think what they have done. They have done the conventional changes. They have done the mathematical implementation changes. Classical approach they have provided. What gonna be added in our courses? What we have read in our 10th, 12th class, they have done in their PhD. But what we are doing now, we are doing nothing which is for the sake of society, which is for the sake of humanity. Fine. So these are some things which need to be considered. If any MTech or PhD student is there, they need to be considered this. Let's move to the next slide. The next slide is about humans and machines, right? So in this point, I want to say there are lots of neurons which are interconnected in our own brain as far as humans are concerned, right? I'm considering myself human. I beg your pardon. I can take that example also. And their comparison with the machine also. Fine. So my point is, machines are still way beyond what human brains are capable of doing. That's the point I have been emphasizing from the first slide only. The ability of human to apply the acquired knowledge, right, with the sense of logic, with the sense of reasoning, with the sense of understanding, learning and experience is what makes us stand out, right? So with knowledge comes power, fine, and with power comes great responsibility. That's what we have been taught right from our childhood. Although machines may be able to mimic human behavior, but to mimic the human behavior is not actually AI. Only to mimic, but not giving any output, what humans can do by doing that particular action. So by doing that particular action, you have to give the same output, what machines have been doing for us. Getting my point? So learning and experience, that I have told you that learning and experience is what make us stand out. Right. So although machines may be able to mimic human behavior to certain extent, not at some great extent we can say, their knowledge may fall apart when making a rational decision like us, prompt decision like us. That's my point is, AI powered machine makes decision based on events. So it is totally a decision, decision based intelligent system. It is not AI. We cannot say it artificial intelligence, like it is nowhere around human intelligence. As far as sensitivity is concerned, it is nowhere around human intelligence, because it is supposed to get answers only for the questions we are making, right? So there is lack of common sense for sure, right? And there are many other aspects. AI systems are clueless in understanding the cause and effect. It will only give the answer. It has nothing to do with the process it is going through with. It depends on the initial and final state of the system, right? So it is not depending, or it is not going to understand cause and effect. And I'm not seeing it to making it train in such a way that it could be sensitive enough. It can only be done in a Bollywood or Tollywood films like Robot, that it has some sensitivity also that Rajnikant has did us. But it is not possible, right? For now, we are doing it. We are trying to do it. We are trying to go through. But even though we are dependent upon the data sets only, we are dependent upon the database only. So in the meanwhile, real world scenarios need a holistic human approach for AI. That's my point is, marked it, that we need a holistic human approach from the artificial intelligence also. Not like it is only mimicking the things at great extent or some extent. It will give the same output as human can do after prompting the things, like seeing each other face to face and giving the right answers and predicting the next person to you, sitting to you, is a kind of good human being or bad human being, is a kind of Indian or a person from abroad. And there are many questions like that. So these things need to be covered. These things need to be considered. if we are going to choose AI as our subject, if we are going to choose AI as our research domain, and if we are going to take students, if you are teacher, to guide him further with in AI domain. So a faculty and a teacher both needs to be considered these subjects, which is a very, basic and grounded subjects. We all know about that, but I just want to put it in my view, in my way, right? So let's move to the next slide. The next slide is machines don't do relationships. We have already discussed, but they are becoming exceedingly good at faking them. Fine. Usko, sorry. When we are talking about machines, right? So there would be some insensitivity. There would be some cause and effect only, right? It has nothing to do with the cause and what is the effect going to be done, going to be gathered when there is something which is getting as a result of that particular device or particular tool or particular algorithm, right? So this slide means machines are good at pattern matching, right? But our ability to learn unlimited pattern means human will always be smarter than artificial intelligence. Obvious, it is very obvious, but there are certain dimensions which needs to be worked, and it could be a revolutionary change. It has already been a revolutionary change. Many things has, many milestones has been achieved in the AI also, but it has not been approved worldwide. It is not being approved one and all by one and all, right? There are lots of debatable things there. That's the main reason AI is not going to be in picture, right? It is more supposedly, it is said to be that it is an intelligent based system. It is a decision based system, right? So when we are talking about human, they can learn unlimited patterns, right? And will always be smarter than artificial intelligence. Not for the first time in its history, right? Artificial intelligence is riding a tide of hype. As I have told you the story of backpropagation of 1970. So there are many obstacles they have come along or come through with, right? Improvements to the technology is the next point. So improvements to the technology have produced some apparently impressive advances in the field that I am really agree and I really appreciate. And my topic is also this only, but it is a kind of SEA. We cannot gather everything about it. It is so vast, it is so wide that even if we are going to learn it, there is a machine learning, there is a deep learning, there is a computer vision, there is a image processing, there is a natural language processing, right? So there are lots of things is there. Emotional intelligence, and now sentiment analysis is new concepts, right? So advancement is there. I'm agree with it, right? For example, voice recognition. For example, I have done face recognition, right, during my master's, during my PhD. So it's all about AI only. But there are lots of assumptions we have made. There are lots of questions we have to come across with, right? Image recognition, predictive analysis, doing some prediction in data mining. Autonomous robotics is there also. So the problem is that people extrapolating many unrealistic expectations. That is the main problem. Otherwise, it has come a long way, right? It is a miracle kind of thing for me. So unrealistic expectation from these initial successes made it failure, and made it failure like that. We are seeing that in coming 20 years we are going to see AI. Otherwise, we are in a phase of intelligent system only. So without recognizing the many constraints, right? What many constraints, what limitation, what assumptions we are making, so surrounding their achievements. So machine intelligence is still pretty dumb. That's the computer scientists think of it. Most of the time, it's far too early for a human race to throw in a, towel. The computer was executing some very simple programming logic before also, right? But we people interacting with ascribed emotional intelligence and empathy, to its replies. We are expecting these things. We are expecting emotional intelligence, empathy we are expecting from it. So it is gonna failure if we are not going to train it or learn it in a same way we are wanting from the stuff from it, right? So let's move to the next slide. The next slide is machine don't understand 95% what makes us human. That's true. Data and information is not a knowledge, right? Is not understanding, it is also right. Is not a wisdom, that's true. Is not the purpose, right? So my point is, for this slide, my point is, suppose machines don't understand 95% of what makes us human. That's the cases. So my point is, for this slide, suppose we have been living with our machines ever since the Industrial Revolution. We have to suppose this, fine, and we are doing this only every day, right? Every day we use our phones, right? Our laptops, coffees, machines, and dishwashers. There are many other stuff. I'm just talking about that we are getting it deliberately used in our daily life, in daily walk of our life. We are so used to having machine work for us in all aspects of our lives that we don't even notice these interaction between us, means with us and machines going in which manner, right? It is going in some other way, right? We have interacted so much, we are dependent so much, right? But we have made machines. Machine had not made us. That's the concept is. And what we have made is not exactly like us, but it is somehow the quality of any algorithm or the quality of any intelligence lies within the choices the programmer has made, right? What programmer has made, it will increase the quality or it will diminish the quality of that particular algorithm. That's my point is, I'm inclined to say that there are only real relationships between AI and human, for me at least. That's that of the moral agent to their artifacts, the relationships of authorship. Cooperation is ordinarily a relationship, right? Cooperation cannot be a relationship between equals. So we can say that cooperation is ordinarily relationships between equals. You don't cooperate with your dogs, getting my point? And you don't really cooperate with the small children. Even if machines learn from themselves, and it cannot learn without the database we are training or making it. Its learning is totally dependent upon the test sets and training sets and all, right? So machine learn from themselves, we can say that, but in exactly the context we do, machine create totally different model with totally different blind sides and gaps that we cannot actually access from common sense or empathy. Getting my point? So if we are having some emotional intelligence, common sense and empathy, we cannot solve which needs high computing things. High computing things means it should be immense computing concepts should be there. So there, suppose the best example you can connect with is big data. That bulky data cannot be handled manually. Leave it manually, leave the concept of manually, it cannot be handled by data mining algorithms only. So we need to develop a concept which is called big data. Because data is getting created on daily basis. Even if I am delivering it to you or you are asking a question to me, it is also deliberately creating a data. And those data need to be managed, otherwise it could be meaningless, right? So there are many such concepts I want to discuss. So there is a question: would we want machines to emulate the unconscious? We are least aware of that what our mind do waste, right? That many people say is that we are using only 1% or less than 1% of our mind. Even Einstein was using 2.5 or 3%. or something. The most difficult thing for machines to emulate are those that are unconsciousness, right? So it was, I have taken this quote from a paper where Minsky and his team has written this, right? And it's a very good concept. So if we are talking about human, you can see the PPT. There is a human brain and there is a algorithms, right? Totally based on logic and no cause and no effect they are having, right? So there is a concept in human mind. So there is a room for social activity. There is a room for intellectual processes. There is a room for emotional things, right? And there is a room for kinesthetic thing. So we will discuss it one by one. So the point is, we don't have the sort of AI yet we want to have, right? What we are seeking for, it will be gonna happen in coming 20 years, right? Most probably, it is not assured by somebody. It is just predicting. I'm just predicting the things the way we are going, the way the world AI organization or society is going. So we are not anywhere close to it. Trust me, we are not anywhere close to it. What we are doing it is making our intelligent system more intelligent based on the results. Suppose we are going to some mall, or we are going to some office or corporate office, or in university also there is a sliding window based on sensors. So there is a programming concept that if there is a threshold of weight, right, from 1 kg to 50 kg or 100 kg would be there in a coming in a given radar, you should be open and close, right? So it is programmed. It can be done. This programming logic can be made in C, in C++, in Java, everywhere. Even LED is programmed in C. The temperature and everything is set in language C. Many drivers are getting made in C. So there was a great life before AI also, and there is a great life after AI also. It has been, I mean, life has been changed, and we are grateful to it, right? But the point is, we don't have the sort of artificial intelligence yet we want to have, right? A computer entity, like I'm taking a very normal example, like you heard about, or you have gone through with this process, that a normal computer entity, like you can consider like Siri, iPhone, Alexa, Cortana, doesn't understand and think as we human do. But if you are asking something which is related to Google Map, if you are asking something which can be answerable from the Google, because Google is a very intelligent system, it has many machine learning algorithms embedded into it, right, working on a single question, right, like this. And that's why they are having so much money. They did a fabulous job. But is it AI? No, it's an intelligent system. I mean, Tesla automated car is there, but is it such that we can use it in our daily life? No, not actually. Would you send your children through that car for now? No. Even I would not like to sit in that particular automated car, right? So these are the bitter truth. We are doing it. We are actually in a phase to get through with AI or something, right? So the artificial intelligence, my point is, we do not have, we do not are trained to do the specific task, right, very well. We cannot do that very well. So assuming humans can provide the data to help them learn, or you can consider they learn to do something but still don't understand it. This can be one of the point. Let's talk about Gmail, right? Gmail has new smart reply. एक नया feature अभी आया है उसमें. There is a new feature in Gmail, feature that suggests replies to emails. The smart reply features identified sent from my iPhone. Connecting with it. This is very often, happened very often as a common reference, as a common response. We can edit these things, but by default it is coming, right? It also wanted to suggest that some other stuff as a response to many different types of emails, including work emails. Like you have sent me that you were very bad at your PPT, or you were very good at your PPT. So there is already a new answer for that particular mail, that thank you for the information, or thank you, or if there is bad about it, thank you, I will try to improve it. So this kind of thing you are facing on daily basis, because we all are using Gmail or something. There is an automated answer always ready. Just click it and send it, right? That's because the computer doesn't understand what these responses mean. कई बार वो जो है, many times it is not, relevant. It is not good. It is not supposed to be sent without reading it, right? It's just learned that many people send these phrases in emails. They have considered and they have made an intelligent system, right? And they have worked on that. There are immense amount of data with Google and Gmail. They have collected it from all over the places. They are doing machine learning algorithm over it. They are doing sentiment analysis over it, right? So it doesn't know whether you want to say, suppose you are good or you are bad, right? So whether we have to answer it like thank you, and or I will improve it in the very next performance or something. So it never knows. It is only based on the previous experiences, what other people has made most of the time, right? As another example, Google Photos we can take, right? So together a collage of accidental photos of the carpet in one of our home. It then identified that that collage as a recent highlight on Google Home Hub. Getting my point? So it is very relatable examples. So Google Photos knew the photos were similar. It knows very well, but it didn't understand how unimportant they were or they are. Right? So there is no emotion, no empathy, no emotional intelligence, nothing. Fine. So there are lots of other things. There are lots of other things we can think about this AI, and these things should be taught at the time of our engineering most of the time, at the time of our graduation most of the time, whether it is BSc IT, MSc IT or something, right? So AI subjects should be added. Otherwise, in coming 20 years also, it is not going to happen. In coming 40 years also, it will be happen, because the new mind, the young mind are much more ignited, are much more enlightening than us. That's what I believe, right? So let's move to the next slide. The next slide is about machines that can hear, see, speak, learn, right? So right from the evolution is right from 1900, but what I have gone through with that, Alan Turing suggested that there will be a change. He told 12 years before that computer is gonna come after 12 years. That's why the Nobel Prize of Computer is being framed on his name. That is Turing Award. That is Nobel Prize for Computer Science researcher or something. He is a real visionary. He has done the astrology that after 12 years, we will get a machine, like we will work on some algorithm which will solve the 500 problems, 5 million problem, and somehow 5 trillion problem in a very fraction of second. Nobody will, even imagined about that at that time. Not even after 20 or 30 years of after that time. He is the father of TOC, theory of computation, automata and everything, right? So these can be a different topic which need to be, 2 or 3 hours to discuss. So I'll not getting into it. I would like to discuss the stories of such people, because it is very, inspirational, and it is very interesting actually. So these are the evolutions. So in 1950, NLP based concept was, discussed by him, and it was not very much entertained. It was not very much accepted at that time. So right from 1956 to till now, we are getting it thoroughly done, right? There is genetic algorithm, there is a human brain cognition, there is a genome editing, there is a recognition of face, there is a uh, uh, surveillance system, traffic surveillance system. So there are lots of things which made the things very easy for human being, but it's not artificial intelligence, and it was framed as its title suggests. That's my point is, right? So the idea of machine overcoming human can be intrinsically, I mean, related to conscious machine. Getting my point? So surpassing human would mean, I mean, like replicating, right? Like reaching and exceeding key distinctive properties of human being. For example, we can take high level cognition. I have just discussed with you. High level cognition associated with conscious perception. I mean, we are, I mean, percepting something with some conscious decision or with some conscious database taking along with us, right? We are not getting it done that take anything randomly. So it could make the result much more efficient as compared to the existing system is providing us, right? So, however, I mean, there is a concept. However, can computers be compared with human? There is still a question. It is very foolish for me to compare human with computer as far as capability is concerned, but it is need to be considered because the base is what machines can do but humans cannot. इस this is the particular base, ये base है जिस पे AI जो है वो काम कर रहा है, टिका हुआ है. So as the name suggests that AI, so we have to compare it from human intelligence for sure. As far as it is not getting to the human intelligence level, it is being criticized. It will be criticized for sure in the coming future also, right? So can computer become conscious? That's the second question. Can you see your computer getting conscious and getting some emotional intelligence or getting some sensitivity in coming years, in after corona effect or something? No. The answer would be no. Can computer outstrip human capabilities? Answer is no. So these are some questions. There are paradoxical and controversial questions also, right? Particularly because there are many hidden assumptions, right? Even if you are making some project or getting your dissertation work getting done, or some you are doing something from basic right from the basic of the AI, right? So there are lots of concepts we have to go through with. There are many hidden assumptions. There are many misconceptions about understanding the brain. In this sense, it is necessary to first explore these assumptions. We have to consider those assumptions, the different dimensions we are working on, and then suggest. Then only we can suggest that how specific information processing of the brain would be replicated by machine. So is it so? Can we expect the machine is, I mean, replicating the same thing as human is doing? No, not now. I have not seen that so far. Therefore, I mean, this particular slide has discussed the subset of human capabilities. Getting my point? So these are the prototype theory of consciousness, right? It will explode and machine will be classified according to the framework we are making. So it is totally made by us. The database, the data set is totally made by us only. We cannot make it like such an intelligent, right? So we need to consider those points when we are working over it or when we are teaching to our students. So finally, I mean, if we are done with this, so the analysis will show the paradoxical conclusion. This is a paradoxical conclusion, right from the evolution of tabulating system era, coming to the programmable era. Getting my point? So it will never completely exceed the human capabilities. That's what I thought. That's what many of us thought. Or if the computer were to do it, the machine should be considered as a computer anymore. The machine should not be considered as computer anymore. If such thing getting happened, right? So there are lots of things to discuss. The next slide is what is going in a recent year, right? Social media is a great example. What we can go wrong, where we can go wrong when algorithms get to some profit, right? And when algorithm overcome the human concerns. These are the things we are going to discuss, right? So in I mean, like that, they can listen, they can speak, they can see, they are having a reason or learn in their way. So the prospect is for me that according to the scientist and economist, is not only the artificial intelligence will transform the way of humans and machines, that's what I thought, communicate and collaborate, right? Create many others and change the nature of the work. So my point is, in a nation like India, it should be not done like it will make many people to lose their job, but it is very much fruitful for country like European countries. They are having very less manpower, but we are not lacking in our right. Now getting my voice. Actually, I'm getting the message that voice is cracking. Now you are getting me, ma'am. Just message. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So these are the things. So in this slide, we will discuss that the prospects, that what scientists and economists had said, that it is not only the artificial intelligence that will transform the human way of living and the standard of living, and machines communicate and collaborate, but it will also eliminate millions of jobs. But it will, at the same time, it will create a different kind of jobs and change the nature of the work for sure. You can take example of there is a Google, and there is example of very good company, that is Microsoft. Search services now respond to the voice commands. Connecting, we can connect with this example, that Google and Microsoft search services are now respond with the search command. So more drivers are asking their cars to do the things like find direction and play music. So there is a example called Tesla automated car, and Google is also working on automated car. So there are many examples that can be done with this point of time, right? So the social media, the Facebook is a revolutionary change. It is a developing a way. Mind in which way? Read your mind based on the things it is having.
Please unmute yourself, Abhishek. You are on mute probably. Abhishek, please unmute yourself. You are on mute. Abhishek, please unmute yourself. Abhishek?
Actually, I was not
Yeah.
muted. Actually, we are having. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you were muted. Actually, there was some problem at your end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, ma'am, I am supposed to stop within
Yeah,
some two
we
minutes.
all can hear you now.
I'll need 2 minutes only.
No problem, no problem.
Okay, okay. So I'll discuss the very important topic that I mean, China plans to be the world leader in artificial intelligence by 2030, even after doing anything like Corona or something. But my point is that leave the earlier history, leave the evolution also. So these are the topics of, research, right? These are the topics of research we need to cover, we need to know, right? And these things to be done in as far as we are working on some research topics like agriculture is there. We can do maximum of things in agriculture, and I would like to tell you that we can get all the agriculture sensors in a market now, so we can do it in a very small pot or garden like that. So I'm just wanting to convey the things that I have done and what I am doing. And then there is a healthcare. I'm working on healthcare. I've worked on COVID data sets also using machine learning. But these all are come with concepts and limitations also. So this is all we can do in a very short span of time, right? So thank you so much for having me here. Tell me if there is a question. I would like to answer. Sorry for the interruption in the middle. The time is really short to discuss all the aspects.
Yeah, Abhishek, I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
we can take one question because it's
Yes, ma'am.
the time to close,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
we can take one question that from Neetu Rathi, that can you suggest some work which could be done as research in image processing using AI? Kindly suggest some research problems in this area.
Yeah, there are many, ma'am. There are many. As I have suggested before also, that I have done work in my master's and my PhD. What was totally based on image processing and AI. I mean, I have used the AI algorithms. What conventionally it has done, and what dimension I have to choose, that where it has failed to do the things, right? And apart from that AI, I have used image processing because I have worked on frontal facial image, or I have worked on different illumination objects. So these are the things we can work on. But I would suggest to go with some classical technique only, ma'am. Don't go with the latest paper like what I have done in 2019. Many people are asked that choose that paper only and improve it. That's not the way we should do that. We should take some classical technique and we should change that technique in our prospects, in our manner, and then we could make an hybrid algorithm and then apply to the things you want to do. That's what my
So,
philosophy is.
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Actually,
Yes.
I'm working in image processing using
Yeah.
artificial intelligence as my PhD coursework just started.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing is that I'm not able to identify the research problem in this domain, as there are things like face clustering, face recognition to you're talking about. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I need your suggestion to what to be done in like in face clustering if I want to do something. What thing I could be do
See,
I could do?
face clustering, face recognition, it has been done in 90s only, right? So my suggestion to you, don't go into how you will recognize the face or how you will improve the efficiency of any particular algorithm which has been done before. Getting my point? What you should do that going through the conventional algorithm like SVM, like PCA, and read the classical papers which has used PCA and SVM. You will find some problem in that only. For example, I'm telling you that I have found a paper from China in 2012, and I have found that PCA has got some problem. But PCA, principal component analysis, has already been implemented mathematically.